I'm Crystal Wagner. I am currently on location at the Fort Wayne Museum of Art. I'm in front of Spire, which is my site-specific installation. It's a part of my solo exhibition, Perexium, in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So in terms of this installation, walking into the environment in the first 15 minutes, I acknowledged a few things about it that were really important. And the observations came from, of course, the ceiling. Not only is the ceiling 40 feet high, which is amazing, but there are these amazing crescent skylights that allow the outside to come in. And that was the catalyst for the main form of Spire. So this kind of tapering architectural plant life that kind of moves upward. So I get on location, and usually in the first 15 minutes, I get a sense of what that space is. And I'm not just thinking about exclusively the architectural element, but I'm also thinking about the way that the negative space breathes and is housed in this space, the way that bodies move through it, the path that individuals take. So if there's a particular entrance or exit, and where are those things in relationship to the massive amount of area that I'm going to be pursuing in terms of the piece itself. So, and then I start working. 15 minutes, conceive of the space, and start rolling out the chicken wire. So now I need to establish a gesture. And that gesture is going to be the catalyst for the actual dense form. I knew that with this installation, that because of the square itself of the base of the installation, where the installation would be, that I needed to focus on creating dense volume and mass down low. So I focused on building the piece with some infrastructure, and typically with the inside of the installation I'm using cylinders to establish volume and to give it the mass from the outside, but it's all an illusion. The reality is that if you remove the material, it's hollow inside. It's also the kind of lifts and ladders that I get to use to make the piece, and pedestals. So the Fort Wayne Museum of Art had a very large variety of pedestals, which I brought in and established the basic gestural kind of gestalt. This is where the dense part of the installation is going to be, and I placed the pedestals around and started building the form on top of it. The chicken wire armature usually takes 3 to 4 days. Here, because of how sculptural and architectural the actual form itself is, it took 4 full days. And throughout that process, I'm thinking about the way that I can reiterate different formal aspects of the environment itself, and also the way that it houses that negative space. So that interchange between the negative and the positive is something that's really important to me. And then I start placing the color. I think one of the things that's fascinating is that, one, people are typically skeptical because they want to believe that I have some kind of crazy overall plan when I get here. But the reality is that this is my intuitive language. It's, to me, an exaggeration of the things that I focus on in the natural landscape, in the world that we live in. So I'm really interested and inspired by nature, natural forms and structures, micro, macro, cellular, space too. I mean, like outer space. Yeah, and inner space, all space, abstract space invader. But with these pieces, I want to kind of give a sense of organic growth. I mean, the materials are synthetic, manufactured consumer products. I mean, Spire is made with these, I mean, when you touch it, it's just tablecloth. It's birthday party tablecloth from a party store. So for me, recontextualizing those materials and growing something that has an organic structural kind of like element to it is really important. I want to emulate natural landscapes, exotic landscapes, using these synthetic materials. So then I make my first mark. I would say that the most vulnerable moment during the entire installation after the armature is established is placing the first mark. And that first color, I mean, I walk the material in with my fingers. So when you paint on a piece, when you're painting on canvas, you have control of the composition based off of the way that things are moving through that composition. I mean, lines and shapes, flow, gesture. When you're working with space as the substrate, every single moment that a person walks through that space is a different vantage point. And that viewing point and that angle is something that I'm completely conscious of. So as an individual walks through the installation, they're not only building an experience mentally of what the moment before was, but they're also leading into anticipation of what the moment after is. So Inspire, as you walk around to the other side, there's a place where the installation almost opens up. And I kept calling it like this, like the insides, like the wound. Like if you go into this structure, that's what you find. And the color palette is dramatically different. Sound is different. I mean, the installations themselves absorb sound in a really interesting way. When you're when you're on the inside of it, it gets really quiet and intimate. When you take an organic shape and curve and you place it next to your body, there's something about that relationship that feels more intimate and more body-like. So in terms of walking all the way around it, you have a sense that you can explore. And I mean, exploration, installation, not trying to be like cute or anything, but I mean, damn people, be curious about the world that you live in. In an installation like this, you have to look up. It's engaging in the sense that scope and scale are a part of the medium. And Spire moves all the way up 40 feet and actually attaches and implied goes through the ceiling of the space. It's important to me that the installations, they have a sense of a true relationship with the environment that they're in. It's not arbitrary. This can never exist anywhere else. It can only exist here. It was made here. And the reason why, I mean, like installation is just specific that way. And I think that true installation, it utilizes that. It's not just about bringing something in and filling a corner in the room. The conditions of that environment have to be so specific to the creation of the work that they can't exist without one another. I mean, architecturally, any attribute in this room is a part of the composition, which means that even if the structure itself was removed, it would never be the piece ever again, because it is made of birthday party tablecloth, chicken wire, and this room.